Chapter 25. Dante caught glimpses of the remaining bandits, figures weighed down by glowing ether canisters, fumbling on their flying contraption from a higher carriage, their forms swallowed by the rapid blur of the outside world. The train bucked like a dying beast. A series of terrifying crunches erupted from beneath them, followed by the agonizing scream of tortured metal. Dante was thrown against the ceiling, then slammed back down, a dizzying, brutal ride through noise and splintering chaos. His head hit something hard. Darkness, cold and absolute, enveloped him. Consciousness returned slowly, thick and resistant. Pain bloomed behind Dante's eyes, a deep, pulsing ache that made thought difficult. He tried to inhale and tasted iron. When he lifted a trembling hand to his face, his fingers came away sticky, with dried blood crusted around his nose and mouth. Everything hurt all over. Above him, the ceiling had collapsed inward, twisted beams and splintered panels, frozen in jagged shapes. Shafts of dirty light pierced through gaps in the wreckage, illuminating drifting dust and falling ash. An eerie, oppressive quiet was all that remained, broken only by the distant groans of settling metal and the faint crackle of dying ether. Dante began to pull himself forward along the floor, still unable to feel his legs. His breathing was ragged, and blood continued to stream down his face. He looked around as he moved forward to see bodies lying scattered through the wreckage. He saw broken forms of humans slumped against torn seats, limbs bent at angles they were never meant to take. He also saw the metal people laying among them, metal frames split open, glass faces fractured and frozen mid-expression. Some still twitched faintly, blue metal cores flickering weakly. And then there were the other types of humanoids present. Dante stared, fascinated and sickened all at once. Fur matted dark with blood, clinging to forms half crushed beneath collapsed plating. Tails lay severed across the floor, twitchless and wrong in their stillness. He followed one with his eyes and found the body it belonged to, the upper half twisted away entirely. Scaled bodies lay nearby of lizard people mixed into the carnage. Thick hides split open, green and bronze scales dulled beneath streaks of red. They were people from different walks of life. Now they all lie dead. That wasn't even the worst part. Children lay among the dead as well. He noticed the size difference before he noticed the damage. A small hand protruding from beneath a broken seat, fingers clenched around a thin metal charm. A smaller automaton slumped nearby, its faceplate cracked, its frame still angled protectively toward a small cat person whose body was shredded to pieces. Dante swallowed hard. His throat was dry and sore, and still had a taste of blood. Something pressed against his heart. He reached inward, instinctively calling for his mana. Normally, it answered him eagerly, violently, chaos straining at the edges of his control. Now it felt distant, heavy, like trying to lift something impossible. He pushed harder. The response was barely a spark, just a weak, useless flicker that died before it could form. His stomach twisted as he felt more and more in danger. Nothing to protect himself in this weird place. Lost on where to start searching for the one person who might be able to bring him back home. He looked down and saw his cuffs broken apart, but still attached to his wrist. He shoved against the wreckage, dragging himself forward, every movement sending knives of pain through his skull. Blood dripped from his face onto the warped metal below as he crawled toward a sliver of light that promised freedom. A shadow fell across him, filling him with dread.
And just where do you think you're going?
The voice was tired and unamused. Dante froze. The sheriff stood over him, her ashen-gray face streaked with soot, a jagged tear running through her cloak. One sleeve was scorched, her hair partially singed, but otherwise she looked infuriatingly intact. Her glowing orange eyes locked onto him, sharp despite the exhaustion etched into her features. He scrambled backward, grasping at debris to put between them. He tried again to reach for his mana as he put his hand out in front of him. Nothing. The sheriff sighed.
Oh, for the love of...
In an instant, she dashed behind him, and her hand struck the back of his head. The world vanished, went black again. Dante woke to silence. His head throbbed as his heartbeat raced. The pain had spread like a pervasive soreness that wrapped his body like lead. He attempted to move, but found himself completely stuck. His hands were cuffed and attached to a sturdy stone wall behind him, locked into a metal frame lined with glowing copper threads and mysterious symbols. His legs were secured separately, with restraints bolted to the floor. Thin glass tubes snaked along the walls, softly pulsing with a blue glow. Metal rings marked with shifting symbols floated just off the stone, spinning slowly on their own. He pulled away forcefully, but the restraints only tightened, emitting a low hum as they responded to the pressure. Trying once more, he channeled his energy into the struggle. He clenched his jaw, letting out a bitter, angry laugh. This wasn't right. Things were not meant to turn out like this.
"Come the fuck on,"
he muttered, his voice raw with frustration.
"Not this again. Kidnapped again in the span of one day. I can only guess what comes next. Torture, right?"
Footsteps approached. The cell door slid open with a hydraulic hiss. The female sheriff entered the room. She looked calmer now and more relaxed. She said nothing as she dragged a metal chair into the center of the room and sat down in front of Dante. Someone else followed her inside, a man who wore a red and black tailored coat. The left side of his face was a metal prosthetic that replaced his eye and ear, gleaming beneath the dim light. Tubes and brass fittings ran along his jaw and temple, faintly warm. He leaned against the wall behind the sheriff, cigar burning lazily between his fingers, smoke curling around his wicked smile.
"I'm the head of this police department. The name's Adrian,"
he said casually.
"I run things around here. I'm guessing you know the sheriff here?"
He gestured with a nod.
Nisha.
The woman interjected flatly. Dante struggled against his restraints, anger slicing through the haze in his mind.
"You've already taken enough of my time," he shot back. "You attack me, tie me up like some animal, and—"
Nisha stood up. In just 2 quick steps, she closed the space between them and slammed her fist into him. She hit him again and again, each blow weighted with her full force. Dante tasted blood, and his vision blurred as his head whipped from side to side.
"All right, that's enough,"
Adrian said nonchalantly. Nisha stepped back without a word. Adrian moved forward and adjusted a cold, metallic device that snapped into place around his neck.
"What the hell is—"
Adrian pressed a button on a device strapped to his wrist. Dante was hit with a wave of agony. His muscles locked up, and he couldn't catch his breath as jolts of electricity overwhelmed him. Though the shock only lasted a few seconds, it felt like an hour, leaving him gasping and suspended in the restraints, unable to collapse onto the floor. Adrian crouched to meet his eyes.
"As of right now,
He said softly,
you are the sole suspect in the deaths of over 700 passengers.
Dante's breath hitched.
In addition,
Adrian continued, exhaling smoke into his face.
you are charged with conspiracy in the largest ether hijacking this region has ever seen."
He straightened, pacing slowly as he spoke, listing punishments with idle precision.
Labor sentences, dissection, facility testing, enslavement.
Then he stopped directly in front of Dante.
The death penalty is very much on the table.
Dante's chest tightened as panic rose. It was sharp and suffocating. Adrian smiled, smoke curling between them, and Dante understood with crushing clarity how helpless he truly was.